and how she was a holy woman and virtuous and helped the poor. But I want to be holy, virtuous, and live and saved for God. Because a lot of young people don't think that you can be saved. You know, we ran revivals all over this country with the evangelist spirit. And people don't think that young women can live holy. Because when you tell them you're a virgin living holy, they think you're crazy. What's wrong with you? You must be lesbian. But once you know who you are in God, you know, it's not something that man gave it to me. It's something that God instilled in me from a young girl, that instilled it in me. When God puts something in you, then all you have to do is carry it out.
Because you have such a strong desire to be like these holy women, is that something that you saw at home? Was your mother the type of mother where, you know, she was one of those holy women that you kind of looked up to?
Although my mother was a nice woman, but it was just something different about sanctified women that been cleaned up. So I just wanted to be like this. My mother Kemp, she was a nice, virtuous woman, and she was a saved and dedicated, and I just wanted to be like them because it was just something different. And I knew that God has instilled in me to be like that, and I wanted to be like that all my life. So I patterned my life after, not, my mother is a good mother. She was good in her way, but there was something different about those sanctified people that, you know, that dedicate their life to God. So I wanted to be like them.
So what you saw in this holiness church changed your whole life. I mean, you're talking about, I mean, most people find it hard not to follow peer pressure. So you're talking about, you have the girls out there and it seems like they're having fun, but when you went to this church, you saw something in these women that was so different, so unique, and so special that you were willing to just change your whole life around.
Oh, yes. Those women, they came to church, they had the long dress, they had the hair tie up and, you know, whatever. But they just, the drum beating, the hand clapping, the shouting and praising God and giving glory to God. Although I didn't understand it, but I knew that's what I want to be. So sometimes you might not all can understand it right then, but you knew in your heart that's what you want to do. So I knew in my heart right then at 12 years old, that's what I want to be, just like those women.
Wow. So when you got to be, let's say, 17, 18, have you ever thought about, were you thinking about getting married or having children? Are those thoughts that ever crossed your mind?
Yes, I think every young girl wants to get married and have a family, but I want to be clean and pure. Even if I didn't get married, I just want to keep myself virtuous, because they taught us as we was coming up. You know, I never forget when I was 16, my pastor said to me, on your 16th birthday, Geraldine, I don't want you to have to look over your stomach to tie your shoes. And me being real skinny, I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, look over my stomach to tie my shoes. I didn't know what he was talking about. But, you know, during that time, they didn't really come out and say, I don't want you to get pregnant. But I kept that in my mind, looking over my stomach to tie my shoe. How I'm going to look over my stomach? I'm so skinny. But I kept that in my mind. I wanted to be different. And God had instilled in me to be different. I was just different. It seemed like, I don't know, he did something to my mind. I didn't have the mind to go to movies. I didn't go to parties. I didn't drink. I didn't hang out. All I wanted to do was go to church.
So I think you hit on something that helped you stay a virtuous woman. You said you didn't go to parties, you didn't drink, you didn't go to movies, because I think a problem with some of the young women out there is the things that they watch on TV, they tend to become that. So do you feel that maybe staying away from the movies and the things that they show on the movie screens and drinking, because if you get drunk, forget it, you know, you're liable to do anything. So staying away from that type of environment and keeping yourself around people who were pure and had motivation was a factor in keeping you virtuous?
Absolutely. I never forget on my prom, and everybody was talking about getting ready for the prom, your big day, you finished 12th grade and you get ready to walk down the aisle, and everybody was talking about prom. So, but I wanted to go to church. I didn't go to prom. Everybody went to prom and getting ready to go to prom, and they said, Jordan, where you going? Oh, I'm going to church. It was a Friday night. They looked at me like, going to church on your prom night? But I was so glad to go to prom. We went to prom and we just had a glorious praising God time, and I didn't miss that because I don't know, the Lord didn't give me that direction to go that way. So when God didn't give you, when you don't have a mind to go that way, you don't miss out on nothing. I never was motivated to go that way. I always wanted to be in church. So on my prom night, I went to church that Friday night. We had a shouting good time. I went back home, and on Monday, the teacher said, you that went to the prom, I hope that, you know, in 3 months, You know, everybody could know what you've been doing. So, but during that time, I didn't know what she was talking about, but I always wanted to keep myself pure. And by a couple of 3 months on down the road, the girl that went to the prom, she was pregnant. So right then I knew I didn't want to go that way. I just wanted to be different. You know, God had instilled in me from a very young age, but I didn't know how to develop. I didn't know how to go by doing it, but all I knew, I had that desire. So once, you might not know how to do certain things in life, but if you have that desire and that motivation, and with God on your mind, you can overcome. And so I just thank God I kept in that pattern. I kept my mind motivated, although I didn't know then what I know now. But I thank God I kept that mind because I knew that there was something different between cleanness and uncleanness. So even if I was going to get married, I was going to say a virtuous woman until I get married, because they taught us when we was coming up, you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't hug and kiss and be in an enclosed corner, because sometimes it get you in trouble. So you have to carry yourself in a way so when the devil comes, because when you get yourself in a trap, the devil will grab you, at your weakest moment. So don't get yourself in that predicament that the devil can't grab you. Right. So I thank God for that.
You said what's important is staying out of those predicaments. You said don't get trapped in those corners. If you see the enemy leading you into a situation, you got to stop and use God's wisdom. So we see being watchful, being prayerful, staying away from certain movies and things that are going to bring you in these situations. So you're telling me you never, like the teenagers, sit there and daydream about having a boyfriend and kissing him? You didn't have those problems as a teenager?
Well, I'm sure they probably come across my mind, but I didn't sit and dwell on it. I didn't read dirty books. I didn't watch filthy movies, and I didn't try to let my mind get below the surface. You have to keep your mind elevated, because if you start reading dirty books and watching dirty movies, then otherwise the devil can create things in your mind. So I always try to keep my mind elevated and don't let myself get in that trap, because once the devil trap you, he'll start drawing you in. Right. Drawing you in. So I try to keep my mind focused, reading good books. I read my Bible, although I didn't understand it when I was coming up, but I kept reading it, and I just said, Lord, I want to be like you. So once you determine to do that, then the devil might leave for a season and come back. And I always bring somebody that you will like. There's a lot. I was engaged. Right. I was engaged to get married, but I really never did no hugging and kissing and all that, doing that, because I carry myself in a virtuous type of person.
So you're telling me that you were engaged and you never kissed the man?
No, I never kissed him lip.
And so that's amazing, because these women today, they think they got to do all kinds of things to keep a man, but this man he wanted to marry you, and he's never even kissed you in the lips.
No, I wanted to just be different. So he kissed me on the cheek. I never get in situation that we do all that hugging and stuff, because things bring one thing. Point A will bring you to point B and point C, and after a while you start doing things you have no intent. At first I used to be ashamed. Don't tell nobody you're a virgin. People look at you funny. And I used to be ashamed. I wouldn't say it. I said, well, no, I'm not married. No, I don't have no kids, and leave it like that. But I'm so proud to stand on an Empire State Building and tell the world, praise God, that I'm singing and a holy, virtuous woman. And I'm so proud. I don't sit and think about what I could do. I don't let my mind get below that surface, because the devil can feed you with all those evil thoughts. So I try to keep myself situated, that when God speaks to me, I don't have to try to get myself ready. Because when God speaks to me, in being in the situation of being an assistant pastor in my church, when God speaks to you, want you to help somebody, want you to pray for somebody, I don't have to try to get myself right. So I want to be in a situation that I can always talk to young people. You can live holy. You don't have to run around with Tom, Dick, and Harry. You don't have to sit there with God, I don't have no husband, I'm lonely. I'm not lonely. I'm enjoying my life. I got so much freedom. I can do things. I can go shopping. I go to eat. I just enjoy my life. Me and Jesus. I have my prayer life. I have my prayer partner, and I'm just so happy. I'm the church. I feel like a multi-millionaire rich woman.
Now, let me say once again, for a woman who's out there who's made mistakes, how can she now, explain to her how she can now become a virtuous woman even after all that she's been through? How does she stand?
You can have 20 kids, probably went through 5 marriages, and the devil might say there's no hope, you're done.